Oh, this is going to be fun. Barron Trump adjusted his mic, his sharp blue eyes locked on the girl across from him. Jessica Harper, campus progressive icon, self-proclaimed defender of social justice and the queen of public takedowns. She smirked, flipping her perfectly styled hair over her shoulder. She'd destroyed conservative debaters before, and tonight she was ready to make Trump's son her next trophy. The auditorium was packed, buzzing with anticipation. Students whispered, eyes darting between the two figures on stage. Jessica leaned in, voice dripping with fake sympathy. Barron, before we start, I just want to say, I admire your bravery. It must be really hard to defend your father's legacy in a place where people actually think for themselves. Laughter. Applause. She was playing to the crowd. Barron didn't blink. He waited until the noise died down. Then he struck back. Oh, I agree, Jessica. Thinking for yourself must be difficult when every opinion you have is downloaded from Twitter. The crowd gasped. Jessica's smirk twitched. She leaned forward, eyes narrowing. Cute. But let's be honest, Barron. You're only here because of your last name. If it weren't for Daddy's money, you'd be another privileged dropout trying to stay relevant. More applause. She grinned, thinking she had him. But Barron? He wasn't even warmed up yet. Jessica, do you know the irony of what you just said? He tilted his head slightly as if observing a bizarre specimen. The only reason you're relevant is because you're a loud, angry voice for a movement that eats its own the second someone disagrees. The moment you think for yourself, poof, you're canceled. Meanwhile, I'm still here, debating on my own merit. Silence. Jessica's eyes darkened. My merit? She snapped. I actually worked my ass off to be here, Trump, unlike you. Barron chuckled. Really? Then why did I score higher on the university entrance exams than you? The audience erupted. Jessica froze. He wasn't bluffing. Barron had done his research, and now she was trapped. This wasn't a debate anymore. This was war. Jessica forced a laugh, but the tightness in her jaw betrayed her. Oh, wow, Barron, you really came prepared with your little Fox News talking points, huh? She shot back, regaining her smug confidence. Barron simply shrugged, unbothered. I prefer facts over talking points, but go on. Jessica leaned in, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. All right, let's cut the BS. You're sitting here trying to act like you actually earned this spot on stage. But let's be real. If your last name weren't Trump, you wouldn't even be in this school. A wave of applause erupted from the liberal-heavy audience. Jessica smirked, feeding off the energy. You want to talk about merit? About fairness? She continued, voice rising. You're a walking billboard for white, male, billionaire privilege. You've never had to struggle, never had to work for anything, and yet you're sitting here trying to tell us you understand the real world? Another round of applause. Jessica smiled triumphantly, like she had just delivered a knockout punch. But Barron? He just sighed, shook his head, and looked at her like she was a child throwing a tantrum. Jessica, do you ever get tired of playing the victim? The entire room went dead silent. Jessica's face twitched. Excuse me? You act like you're some kind of oppressed warrior fighting against the big bad system, but let's get real here, Barron said smoothly. You're a student at an Ivy League school. You're sitting on a debate stage in front of hundreds of people, confidently running your mouth about how oppressed you are while calling me privileged. I hate to break it to you, but the only thing you're struggling with is losing an argument. Laughter erupted from the more neutral parts of the crowd. Even some of Jessica's supporters shifted uncomfortably. Jessica? Fuming. Jessica's nails dug into the podium, but she kept that fake grin plastered on her face. She wasn't used to losing. Not publicly. Not like this. She exhaled sharply, then turned to the moderator. Can we talk about the actual topic instead of listening to Barron's sad little speech about how hard it is to be rich? The moderator, clearly favoring Jessica, nodded. Let's move on. The topic is freedom of speech in modern America. Jessica, you start. Jessica's confidence returned instantly. Look, it's simple, she said, flipping her hair. Hate speech is not free speech. Conservatives love to cry about being silenced, but in reality, all we're doing is holding them accountable. If your opinions are so fragile that you can't handle criticism, maybe you shouldn't have them. Loud applause. She smirked, eyes flashing toward Barron. So no, I don't feel bad when people like you get deplatformed for spreading hate. Actions have consequences. Barron nodded thoughtfully, like he was actually considering her words. Then he responded, "That's interesting, Jessica. So you're saying censorship is fine as long as you agree with the reasoning?" Jessica rolled her eyes. "It's not censorship, it's accountability." Ah! So, when someone disagrees with you, it's accountability. But if you were banned for, say, calling white men oppressors, that would be unfair, right? Jessica blinked. She knew where he was going, and she didn't like it. "That's different." "No, it's not," Barron cut in, voice sharp. "The problem with people like you is that you think free speech only applies when you agree with it. The second someone challenges your views, you demand their voice be silenced. That's not justice, Jessica. That's dictatorship." The crowd murmured. Some people clapped. Jessica, panicking, she had to hit back. Hard. Jessica squared her shoulders. "You know what, Barron? You sound exactly like every other right-wing nutjob crying about cancel culture. Let's be real, you guys don't care about free speech. You just want to be able to say racist, sexist garbage without consequences." Barron tilted his head, amused. "Jessica, let's test that theory. If I said men and women are biologically different, would that be hate speech?" Jessica froze for a split second. She knew the trap. If she said yes, she'd look ridiculous. If she said no, she'd contradict herself. "It depends on the context," she said carefully. Barron smiled. "No, Jessica, it doesn't. It's a biological fact. But if I said that on your Twitter feed, you and your friends would call for my head." Jessica's face burned. "The audience?" Now fully engaged, Barron continued, pressing the advantage. "See, that's the problem. You don't have actual arguments. You just label anything you don't like as hate speech, so you don't have to debate it. And the second someone questions you, you play the victim and demand they be silenced." Jessica had no response. She just glared. Barron leaned forward, delivering the final blow. "You don't want a debate, Jessica. You want an echo chamber. But here's the thing. You don't control this stage. And in the real world, people like me aren't afraid of people like you." The audience erupted. Jessica was officially shaken. And Barron? He was just getting started. Jessica stormed off stage the second the debate ended. She had lost. Badly. And worse, everyone saw it. Clips of Barron's brutal counterattacks were already flooding Twitter, racking up millions of views in hours. Even neutral students, ones who normally didn't care about politics, couldn't deny what happened. Barron Trump had walked into a room full of people expecting his public execution and left as the undeniable winner. Jessica? She was humiliated. But she wasn't done. Losing a debate was one thing. Losing power? Unacceptable. So she did what every fragile, entitled, power-hungry activist does when they lose, fair and square. She tried to change the rules. The next morning, Barron got an email from the university administration. Subject: "You urgent. Allegations of student misconduct." Barron laughed as he opened it. He had called this days ago. The email claimed that multiple students had filed complaints against him for creating an unsafe learning environment. Unsafe? Because he won a debate? He knew exactly what this was. A desperate, pathetic power move. Jessica and her friends couldn't beat him with facts, so they were trying to silence him through bureaucracy. A second email hit his inbox. Subject: formal request for a meeting, Office of Student Conduct. They wanted him to defend himself. Barron smirked. Perfect, because he wasn't just going to clear his name, he was going to burn their entire corrupt system to the ground. By noon, the campus was split into two camps. Camp 1. The Barron is a fascist crowd. Jessica's army of activists, journalists, and professors who had spent the last 4 years grooming students into mindless social justice drones. Camp 2. The rational students. The ones who weren't even conservative but hated the hypocrisy of cancel culture. And right in the middle of it, Barron, sitting at an outdoor campus cafe, sipping his coffee, watching the meltdown unfold like it was an HBO drama made just for him. A group of students passed by, noticing him. "Dude, that debate was insane," one whispered. Another student, a girl with dyed blue hair and a "No Fascists on Campus" button, glared at them. "You're really supporting him?" she sneered. "He's a misogynist. He literally attacked Jessica on stage." The guy raised an eyebrow. He attacked her, or did he just out-debate her? blue-haired girl scoffed. He's dangerous. And he's about to be expelled anyway. Barron chuckled to himself. Expelled, not a chance, because Jessica had no idea what he had been doing behind the scenes. That night, Jessica and her closest allies sat in their dorm room, plotting their final attack. They had already weaponized the university administration. Now, they needed a PR campaign. Jessica pulled out her phone and hit record. Hey everyone, it's Jessica. I wasn't going to speak out, but I just can't stay silent anymore. Her voice was shaky, fake, calculated. I felt so unsafe on that debate stage. Barron Trump humiliated me in front of hundreds of people, not with facts, but with intimidation tactics and misogynistic rhetoric. Her voice cracked for dramatic effect. This isn't about me. This is about all women, about making sure people like Barron don't get away with spreading hate under the guise of free speech. She hit upload. Within minutes, the video was viral. Her followers flooded Twitter with hashtags, expel Barron Trump, Jessica speaks out, no hate on campus. The university issued a statement saying they were reviewing serious allegations of misconduct. Jessica smiled. Checkmate. Or so she thought. Because across campus, Barron was sipping his coffee, scrolling through her video, and smirking. Cute move, Jessica, but you just made your biggest mistake. Because the thing about playing dirty, it only works when your opponent doesn't know how to fight back. And Barron? He came to win. Barron Trump is a danger to this campus. Jessica's voice echoed through the student hall, her fake tears glistening under the stage lights. The event? A campus solidarity rally, hastily organized by Jessica's army of activists. The banners behind her read, "No hate at university name," and "Expel Barron Trump now." A crowd of students stood in front of her, some holding signs, others furiously recording for social media. The entire university administration was watching. Jessica, basking in her own self-righteous glow, continued. I have been harassed, silenced, and attacked simply for speaking my truth, she declared, voice shaking perfectly on cue. And yet the university continues to allow someone like Barron Trump, a privileged, violent misogynist, to walk freely on this campus. Loud applause and cheers. Jessica wiped a fake tear. I am not safe here. None of us are safe here. We demand action. We demand justice. And we demand that the university finally expel Barron Trump. The crowd erupted into cheers. Jessica smirked. She had won. Or at least, she thought she had. Because just as the applause reached its peak, a voice cut through the noise. Wow, Jessica! That was Oscar-worthy. The crowd fell silent. Jessica's face twitched. And then, stepping through the audience, walking calmly up to the stage, Barron Trump. He climbed the steps without hesitation, taking his place at the opposite podium. You seem confused, he said smoothly, watching Jessica's mask slip. I figured I should show up since, I'm the topic of discussion. The crowd shifted, whispering. Jessica glared. You shouldn't be here, she hissed. Why not? Barron gestured at the banners. Seems like you went through a lot of effort to talk about me. I thought I'd return the favor. And then, without breaking eye contact, he pulled his phone from his pocket. The screen flashed to a video file. He hit play, and that's when everything changed. Jessica's fake tears vanished instantly, because on the big screen behind them, playing loud enough for everyone to hear, was her own voice. I don't care if I have to lie. We have to get him expelled. We'll say he harassed me, that he threatened me. The school will take my side. The crowd gasped. Jessica's face went bone white. Once we take him down, we can do this to anyone who doesn't fall in line. It worked before, it'll work again. The video ended, silence, and then boom, the entire room exploded in murmurs, gasps, and shouts of shock. Jessica staggered backward. Well, wait! That's taken out of context, she screeched, her voice cracking with panic. Barron, he just smiled. Oh? So you're saying I manipulated the footage? That I'm spreading misinformation? He raised an eyebrow. You mean like how you spent the last week telling everyone I was a danger to this school? Jessica's mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. Because she knew it was over. The crowd? Not on her side anymore. Barron wasn't done yet. By the way, in case anyone thinks I doctored this clip, he held up his phone again, scrolling. Here's the full recording, 10 minutes of Jessica and her friends plotting how to frame me as a threat so I'd be removed from campus. Jessica whipped around, looking for the university officials. She spotted Dean Carter, the head of student affairs, watching from the back of the room. Expression tight, unreadable. She ran to the mic. "Dean Carter, you can't let him get away with this! He's manipulating—" "No, Jessica," Dean Carter's cold voice interrupted. "You need to leave the stage." The room gasped. Jessica froze. "What? What? No!" "He's lying. We will be reviewing all of this immediately," Dean Carter said, stone-faced. "But for now, you are relieved of your student government position, and pending an investigation, you are suspended from all campus activities." Jessica let out a strangled sound. Barron just watched, calmly. The power shift was complete. And Jessica? She had nowhere left to run. Jessica stormed off stage as the crowd erupted into chaos. Students were arguing, whispering, recording videos, posting online in real time. The reaction was instant. Jessica's allies abandoned her. Professors who once supported her went silent. The university was in full damage control mode. Meanwhile, Barron Trump walked off stage like a king. A group of students approached him, still in shock. "Dude, how did you even get that recording?" one of them asked. Barron smirked. "Let's just say I knew she was coming for me the second I walked on campus. So I prepared." Jessica had thought she was setting a trap, but she was the one who walked into it. As Barron left the event, his phone buzzed. A notification from Twitter. His name was trending worldwide. Headline: Barron Trump just ended cancel culture in one debate. He scrolled through the tweets, shaking his head. He hadn't even tried to go viral. He just refused to lose. And the world loved every second of it. Jessica Harper was finished. Less than 24 hours after Barron publicly exposed her, the university issued an official statement. "We take all allegations of misconduct seriously. In light of new evidence, Jessica Harper has been indefinitely suspended, pending a full investigation." Boom. Jessica's entire world collapsed overnight. She was stripped of her student government position. Her name was wiped from university websites. Her allies turned their backs on her. By the time the next day rolled around, her Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok were all set to private, but it was too late. Screenshots of her smug social justice posts, her failed attempts at canceling other students, and even previous dirt she thought was buried resurfaced. A once untouchable activist queen had become the internet's main character. The worst part? The mainstream media refused to touch her story. Liberal journalists, who once worshipped her, now acted like they had never heard her name. No one came to her defense. Jessica had become radioactive, and Barron? Untouchable. Barron walked onto campus the next morning, completely unbothered. The students who once whispered behind his back, now they just watched in awe. Dude, Barron is actually a savage. He didn't just win, he nuked her. Bro turned cancel culture into cancel her. He walked into the cafe, ordered his coffee, and sat down at his usual table, his phone buzzing non-stop. Text from his father. "Nice job, kid. You really are a Trump," he smirked. "Not bad for a week's work." As he sipped his coffee, a small group of students approached his table hesitantly. One of them, a quiet brunette who had barely spoken in class, cleared her throat. "Hey, I just wanted to say, I used to believe everything Jessica said. But after what you exposed, I don't know, it made me realize how fake some of these activists really are." Barron set down his cup. "Glad to hear it." She shifted awkwardly. "I guess I just wanted to say, I respect what you did. Not many people would stand up against that kind of mob." He leaned back in his chair. "That's because they want you to believe they're invincible, but they're not. The second you stop being afraid of them, they lose all their power." She nodded slowly, as if processing something for the first time. The group left, but Barron noticed something different about the way they walked away. They weren't whispering about him anymore. They were thinking. 1 week later, Barron's debate video had hit 30 million views on YouTube. His name was still trending, and his victory had ignited something bigger than just a campus controversy. Everywhere, people were starting to push back against the system. Students began questioning their professors. More debates were organized, with people actually challenging the leftist narrative. Even high-profile conservative figures began using Barron's victory as a rallying cry against cancel culture. The university, desperate to do damage control, issued new free speech protections. a pathetic attempt to pretend like they had been neutral all along. But everyone knew the truth. Jessica Harper was gone. The activist had lost, and the myth of cancel culture's invincibility shattered. You don't belong here, they had told him. But in the end, he didn't just belong, he dominated.